we live in a world where communication in relationships is becoming pretty much challenging. And the sad thing about it is people are nowadays struggling to understand emotional intelligence, okay? Being available for someone when they need you. And what we have witnessed when it comes to Ash and Manuel since the first season of them being on 90 Day Fiancé to now where they are, communication has always been nothing but a blur. It's been terrible. So much that we've sat and said to ourselves, why are these two even getting married when we know that their communication is terrible? Terrible. We've seen with other couples where it's bad, but this is very bad because Ashley knew that Manuel had issues with being transparent or fully telling the whole picture, but still went ahead and married him. And despite that, she allowed all of this stuff to still give her headaches, which therefore would cause arguments, which therefore would cause her reaction to whenever he would speak, which therefore would cause him to shut down even more. So what we're going to do is going to recap again what went down this week with these two when they finally got to a point where they could become wholesome. And let's break down exactly what they could have done that could have prevented all of this. So let's quickly get into the very beginning itself in particular, where Manuel is now for the first time starting to actually open up.
Ella una vez por mes, que pasó con mis hijos.
Yo nunca hablar con ella, yo nunca hablar con ella, no me gusta hablando con ella, ella molestarme, bla.
No quiero decirte porque tú te molestas.
So here's the thing. Manuel makes it abundantly clear that he is struggling to speak to Ashley because she gets angry. Now, bear this in mind, this is somebody that already had a track record, according to Ashley, of where he struggled already to even be fully transparent, which tells me that this man has lived a life where telling the truth has never been easy for him. Why? Not because it hasn't been hard for him as an individual. It's been because of people who he has tried to tell things to. They are reacting in ways that have made him feel uncomfortable. They're reacting in ways that's made him feel, you know what, the best thing that I can do is just shut down. Because the people who he has tried to do it to have been emotionally unavailable. And Ashley is one of those people. She's someone who's very, very aware of how she feels, but very, very unaware of how he feels. And very, very unaware about the environment that she's creating for him. I was having this conversation literally yesterday, which brought me to this video. And I was saying that you see in this world, generally speaking, when women are born, when women are born, they are raised to know how to love from the very get-go. They are raised in a way where they know to be in touch with their emotions from the very get-go. Men, on the other hand, are raised from the moment that we're born, we're just told, listen, your role is to grow up, earn money, and be able to provide. Okay, so we're literally not told about emotions. We're not told about love. This is why I was saying in one of my other videos that when it comes to a man and a woman, it is more important for a woman to respect her man than to love her man. Because for a woman to love someone, it is easier because when you're born into this world, depending on who your parents are, of course, you are already taught how to love and how to be in touch with your emotions. The men are not, okay? So here's the thing. Why is it that we live in a world where there are so many men nowadays who are becoming even more unemotionally unavailable? Well, look at it this way. If we look at how things are now compared to the past, we now have a certain portion of women who have become unemotionally available because they are all about their feelings mattering and not actually wanting to actually listen to what their partner is trying to say. And the matter of the fact is, I've always said that it is a woman's responsibility, in my humble opinion, to give a man the safe haven for him to finally be able to speak his piece without judgment, without it being turned around in himself, okay? Without him feeling as if his voice is pointless. Because the moment that a man feels as if his voice is not relevant anymore is the moment that a man shuts down. I always say this to any woman that I ever speak to. I always say to them, if you're with a man, if he's quiet, that is never a good thing. If you ever ask him questions and he never wants to tell you, that is never a good thing. It means there's something that you have potentially done that has put him in this position to not want to speak because of the reactions that you have given him, or he's carrying trauma from the past. And right now, you have been unable to create a safe haven for him just yet, for him to trust to be able to speak to you. Because, of course, we also have a certain portion of women in this world that if a man does open up, they will then use everything that he said against them in heated conversations, which is unacceptable, just what I'm saying. So really and truly, when it comes to Ashley and Manuel has been saying this, and it's annoying me that I haven't seen this until now. But he has been saying, each time these two have a dispute, he's always saying, yeah, look, she's crazy. She's losing her mind again. She's doing this again. And to be fair, whenever Ashley always speaks, Ashley always only speaks about how she's feeling. Never, ever, ever, ever really does speak about how she's making him feel. We have seen scenes where she has literally taken him to places with her friends to interrogate him. We've seen scenes where she's taken him to places with her friends, and then when things haven't gone south, she then speaks to a stranger about him in front of him. But then the scenes that we've seen of Manuel with his friend has done what he can to hear both sides of the story, to be fair on both accounts. Which means that Manuel has a very, very good friend in his life, but sadly, when it comes to his wife, she failed her responsibility, in my humble opinion, to give this man an open space, to give this man a safe haven. At the end of the day, when it comes to emotions, men are predominantly more emotional than women. that you can't tell me otherwise, okay? But for a man to be emotional and to be able to let go of what he wants to say, the safe haven has to be created by who? By home. Who is a man's home? Who is a straight man's home? His woman. If you're gay, I don't know, to be honest with you. That's a whole different conversation there. But let's continue though.
Prefiero callar mi boca y nada más. Unos $1,000. ¿Qué hago? Ahorrando. Prefiero callar mi boca y nada más.
So even this part here where he says, I'd rather just shut my mouth and that's it. If you ever hear these words from your partner, and to be fair, in this one here, I will say this, if you ever hear these words from your partner, whether your partner is a man or a woman, knows your partner should never, whether it's your wife, it's your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, your partner should never utter the words, I'd rather shut my mouth and that's it. Because the moment that you hear those words, that's when you know that you have failed your partner in terms of making them feel safe. How many men and women right now go to work, work's over, you get home, but you don't want to go inside. It's an hour before work's finished, 30 minutes before work's finished, but you're dreading going home because your partner no longer has that safe place for you anymore. Of course, everything that I say is subjected to both genders 1000%. But let's continue.
Boca y nada más. Unos $1,000. ¿Qué hago? Ahorrando. Yo lo tengo metido en el banco. Tengamos una vida sana. Porque el dinero me molesta hablar. Me siento impotente, no puedo trabajar para ayudar a mi familia. Necesitan una inyección y tantas cosas.
See, here's the thing. Ashley knows. And this is the thing that annoys me the most about Ashley. She knows that this man, Emmanuel, has always been a working man. Not only has he always been a working man, but he's always been a provider. Now, we don't know his story when it comes to his baby mom and the kids. We don't know the story. But what we do know is that despite the fact that he may not be with her anymore, despite the fact that he's not with her anymore, he has done everything possible to make sure that he's always working and providing money for the family and for those kids. And it's crazy because, again, let's go back to what I was saying before. We don't know his trauma. But I would say this, though. We've known that when it comes to being fully transparent, that's something he's been unable to do, generally speaking, even before Ashley. So that says that he's got somebody back there who's looking after, who's obviously the baby mom to his kids, but clearly he's not with her anymore because she was obviously not allowing him to have a voice. That's why he did not want to be fully transparent about his move, because that's something that we did discover before. And to be fair, there has been a chain of events that have shown that this man has obviously struggled with this for a reason. And again, it bothers me that it took me until now to figure it out. Usually I figure these things out sooner. God damn. But either way though, we are here where we are now. And Ashley knew about him. She knew about his struggles with that, but she refused to accommodate that. If she's going to choose to love this man, if she's going to choose to marry this man, if she's going to choose to be with this man, she has to be in a position where she also chooses to accommodate anything that he has been through. She has to choose to understand why he behaves the way he does. She has to choose to not react like a crazy person, as he says, like an angry person, like he says, and she has to choose to react in ways that make him feel comfortable, so therefore he can finally open up. And I'll tell you this right now, For a while, I have been saying I don't know if this man even loves this woman. In fact, I've been saying that I don't believe he even loves Ashley because of the actions that I've seen. But you know what? The fact that he finally got to a point where he said, you know what? I have to now just speak up. I can't keep up this act anymore of just playing dumb or being like, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. I'm now going to finally open up and just say it as it is. That tells me one goddamn thing, that this man chooses to love Ashley. He chooses to want to be with Ashley. He chooses that she's the woman that he desires, and that's the woman that he does not want to lose. And that is why he finally ended up breaking out of his defensive mechanism. And the beautiful thing about it was that Ashley's reaction in the moment was generally good. Could have been better, 1000%, but it was good because that's what he needed. He needed her to hear him. So I give her credit to that 100%, but let's continue.
Necesitan una inyección, tantas cosas.
Esto es porque estás preguntando sobre los $300.
Exactamente, sí.
Mi mente ir en diferentes maneras. Como estás haciendo algo mal.
Siento mi corazón porque no quiero hacerte sentir mal a ti.
The fact that he even becomes apologetic, talks about I don't want to make you feel bad anymore. Huh.
No quiero eso. ¿Cuánto extraño a mi familia?
Now, this is not a video based on who's right or wrong. This isn't a video about saying Ashley's been wrong the whole time, or Manuel's been wrong, or he's been right this whole time, or men and women are this and that. No. This is all about just understanding your partner. This is all about thinking sometimes before reacting, because a lot of the times, a lot of relationships aren't going well because people aren't thinking before they're reacting. Do you see what I'm saying? Some people don't even think even after they have reacted. This is a man that finally said to himself, you know what? Enough is enough. I have to do better. I have to do differently. I need to be vocal. So he decided to be vocal for the very first time, and it is absolutely beautiful to see it. Of course, again, the reaction that we got from Ashley could have been better, but it was good regardless. So at the end of the day, the credit is always there. But either way, though, it is still disappointing to know that Ashley, this whole time, she had the signs in front of her to see that this man was struggling, to see that this man needed her to be his safe haven. But instead of doing that, she was too busy focused on herself because of her not being emotionally unavailable. Fair enough, the man wasn't being truthful about certain things. Fair enough, he was holding back on XYZ. But here's the thing though, instead of attacking him, going at him, making him feel like absolute garbage, the thing that she was meant to do was trying to understand why is he doing it. Those are the questions why. And this is something that we don't do in this world. We should focus more on trying to understand why is somebody behaving the way they're doing, rather than trying to attack them and telling them off that they are wrong. It doesn't matter if they're wrong. What matters is the why, because when you have the why is when you then come up with the solution. When you attack, you come with no solution, and it's an ongoing cycle, and that's how the toxic energy continues. Now, of course, this does not work in every single relationship, because there are some relationships where, generally speaking, you are generally with the wrong person, because sometimes people can be with someone who generally is an abusive person. That ain't gonna work. That person, you just gotta run away. You've got to run away from them 1000%. But in general relationships, okay, where miscommunication is a big thing, stop saying, hey, it's your fault. I'm telling you now, when you're in a relationship, right, it doesn't matter whose fault is. What matters the most is why this person has done it. If they can give you an answer, that is fantastic. If they can't give you an answer, then maybe you need to ask a few more questions. Just gotta break it down and ask in different phrases. And even then, if that person is still stubborn and still does not want to speak up to why, which therefore cannot give you the solution, but then that's the moment you should be like, you know what, maybe it's time for us to separate. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to burn energy trying to find out why somebody's behaving some way if they're never going to tell you, because therefore you never get to that solution that you need, that you desire. That solution is obviously going to make you to move forward. I mean, in this world, I say YouTube, it could be 3, 4, 5 years, depending on your relationship, what you like, right? Now, listen, I don't know if what I'm saying here is things that can necessarily work in the same sex relationships. Couldn't tell you, you know what I mean? Because therefore you're dealing with people the same. But at the same time, though, I will say this: the communication is something that should definitely help everyone, despite what type of relationship you're in. To be honest with you. So either way, though, it was beautiful to see this scene. For many reasons. One of those reasons was because I was able to then be like, oh damn, that's what I was missing. So therefore I was able to bring this video to you guys and break down how all these things should be going in your relationships. Okay. Nonetheless though, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. But remember this though. If you're in a relationship with somebody, even in friendship, don't waste your time pointing fingers on who's to blame. Spend more time trying to find out why it's happened. And if you can't, then you gotta potentially make that tough choice. Either way though, thank you for your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.